Well, the 4th of October, here we are, everybody. This is 2024. Welcome, Santa Clarita. Let's talk about your daily real estate inventory, and then we're going to get into some other real estate news that might help you when it comes to making, buying, or selling decisions in this current market. So looking at inventory, we've actually increased several listings from yesterday, up 6. So right now we have 14 listings that are in the coming soon realm. All of these listings, all of the real estate information that you're looking for is at SantaClaritaOpenHouses.com. It's my website, it's my property, so you don't have to be concerned about somebody taking your personal and private information and just selling it to the people that want to buy it. You're going to find that if you go online and you're looking for anything real estate, more than likely it's not going to take long. You're going to start being followed around on your social media. You're going to see real estate ads and all these other things. You really can't stop that, but you can work with getting your best advice right out of the chute. Find that local agent, somebody that talks about the local market, somebody that adds value, somebody that gives the information out there as people need it. Very, very straightforward, not leaning to the left or to the right, just as you want it, giving you the information so you can base a really good buying or selling decision upon that. Also, with any information conveyed to you when I'm meeting with my sellers or buyers, it's just not me that I'm bringing with me. I bring information and data, provable, factual data that I can show my clients, because when I was a police officer, when I got into court and I was testifying against the person that I arrested for some crime, I couldn't just say to the judge, I had a feeling. I had to give full and complete information, and I bring the same tactic and strategy into my real estate business, because at the end of the day, you're going to want to know, just like the judge wants to know, and the attorneys want to know, and the bad guy wants to know, and God himself wants to know. Everybody wants to know exactly the factual information. So coming from law enforcement in real estate, that's one of the things I bring. I love facts. I love data. I loved honest and truth. That stuff means the world to me. All right, so back to this. 83 new listings have hit the market. Less than 6 yesterday. We were up a little bit higher in that realm. Price change is 69, less than 2 yesterday. Back on market properties 24. That's up 3 from yesterday. These are very small changes in the market, daily things. It's really better, I find, when I'm looking at 3 and 4 week pieces of information. In fact, when I'm looking at even sold data, I'm looking at 180 days. If I can get away with finding complete variables that are apples to apples in comparison, I will then do it with a 90-day realm, a 90-day search process for those listings to try to put those best prices on them. But in some cases, you need that entire 180 days. But one of the things as a savvy agent that you're going to want to have given to you is, if in fact you're looking at comparables and there's not very many for your residents and your agent's showing you this, okay, on them you're going to want to look for those dates when they actually finished, because if it comes to listing your house and it takes, let's say, 45 days to get it into escrow, for example, and you have a listing that you compared that was really one of the best ones to compare your house with, if it has gone past that 180 days, in most cases, an appraiser is not going to be able to use that information. So your house might come in short regarding appraisal if in fact there's nothing else to verify it with. Now, appraisers do a very good job, but this is information that you might want to be understand a bit of, because what you don't want is somebody to come take advantage of you. Now, I say 180 days, no more. No, that's not a super strict hard and fast rule, especially if the appraiser takes a little bit more time and justifies their selection and why they are using an outdated comp. But just like in real estate, who you hire makes the difference. In a lot of cases, you're not going to have a choice on what appraiser comes to the property and inspects it and appraises it if you happen to be a home buyer. Happen to be a home seller and you're not doing a refinance, again, that's something that you're not going to be privy to usually either. It's not going to be something you do, but this is good information to know. All right, so we have pending properties 53, 61 properties have closed in the last 7 days. That's up 13 over the 7-day period from yesterday to today's change. And we have 14 properties properties that have put on hold. Now, in Valencia, what I did is I wanted to pull down some of the best listings and inventory shifts, give something of a neighborhood spotlight. So with regard to the Valencia, Winding Trail Court, listed at $745,000, 3-bedroom, 3-bath home, and that's a very solid choice. You can see that one at Santa Clarita, openhouses.com. Now, while one property went into contract in that neighborhood, there is still a very high buyer interest in Valencia and also in Canyon Country on Flynn Drive at 474, a 2+2. Some of the investors that call me are looking for properties such as this, and they're looking on when those rental estimates are. How much is that property going to rent for? The other thing that you want to investigate is what type of loan, if you're an investor, are you going to be able to obtain on a particular property out here? And it's going to depend on how many units might be utilizing a particular loan type. So these are things you definitely want to investigate with your agent to make sure if in fact you are going to develop an investment strategy and purchase properties to rent and hold here in Southern California, because that really seems to be the bigger payoff. Cash flowing stuff out here in this market's a little difficult for investors unless you can really get a very, very great deal on real estate. But other than that, the tactic would be to buy and then hold and then let the property values get in such a way where you'd be able to offload the property, or maybe buy it enough under market value in such bad shape you might be able to put a little bit of money into it and then flip it. But there are also rules with that with regard to time frame. So definitely, if you want to get in that investment world with regard to real estate, buying, rehabbing, flipping, or buying with a rental strategy, holding on for a longer amount of time, definitely want to sit down with somebody that has done this and knows the intricacies of it, so you don't get yourself into a financial bad way. And again, coming from working in law enforcement and then in real estate, there are several parallels, one of which has to do with that trust. Whenever a citizen came and wanted me or needed me to do some kind of enforcement action, I always went to the best of my ability. There was no second chance. There was no, maybe if I make a mistake, I can redo this later. And I bring that to real estate. There's quite a bit of overlap with law enforcement and real estate, but I saw very early on when I purchased my first residence, I got totally screwed by the agent. And that's why a few years later, I got my real estate license, just because I was exceptionally powerless at the time I was being taken advantage of. I didn't want that same fate to fall on anyone else, especially if I had some kind of semblance of control and was able to be the real estate agent. So that's what I bring to the table. These different impacts on the Santa Clarita Valley, we seem to have had the interest rate meeting. Remember that here? I think it was September 17th and 18th, if memory serves. With that meeting, the Fed reduced the rate that the banks, of course, borrow and trade money a little bit. And that did have a trickle-down effect to the mortgage interest rates. But let's keep watching and see where those rates end up. We could see further cuts between now and the election time. Usually, after that, things are probably going to remain steady just for a little bit. Right now, I don't see the market taking off in any way. We did miss the opportunity to have more sales come onto the market as real estate listings, and that was because rates were proposed to go down even lower than they did. That would have sent a shockwave into the market, and I do believe more sellers would have listed their properties, because what they need to buy, a replacement property, they're not going to be in within their mind such a big difference in interest rate, going from 2, maybe 4. Maybe they can understand, maybe they can work with that, going from 2.2 or 2.8% if they happen to have the mortgage for a couple, 2-3 years, then trying to get into a 5 or a 6. It's hard to make that move. So that's what's holding sellers up now. For you buyers out there, just make sure that you get pre-approved. You talk to those lenders out there. There are several different types. Just know that going in. You're going to see that there's lenders that work at your credit union if you happen to be a cop or fireman or sheriff or actor in the movie industry. Those credit unions out there built around you, they do offer real estate origination, meaning they will be able to lend you money on a real estate purchase. I would just say maybe shop around just a little bit just to make sure that in fact they do offer you the best rate. in some circumstances, and I've been trying to talk to some of these law enforcement credit unions because I believe I have a solution. I think they can really be the best thing in town, but they hire a lot of these companies that basically work on manipulating the membership in order to get them to use the credit union for loan origination. But what they're missing, those are all great things, I guess, especially if they're able to make a good deal. But what they're missing is the communication. When everything is online, you're filling everything online, there's no model to really speak with anybody. Or the people you're speaking to really have no more skin in the game than hourly. There's no bonuses or anything else. Unfortunately, human nature is such that you're not going to get a lot of service in that realm. So one of the things that talking to the police credit union, I had a contact there for a bit, talking about how to expand that and make that market more solid, because I do believe they might be able to be the best interest rate out there. And with credit unions, typically they don't have the FHA or VA. They do sub those out. They give those to other entities. One of the things that I would say is, even though maybe they can't write the FHA and the VA, they do have great conventional rates also. But whoever you approve with, just make sure that you keep a file of all the information and documentation you're going to be sending them. They're going to ask you for a bunch of stuff. Make sure you have all that together and put it in a file, so if you need to talk with somebody else and get somebody else's opinion on your borrowing and interest rate and those sorts of things, then you can at least do that easier. And I'll give this reminder, as I do with everyone selling or buying real estate: follow everything up in an email so you make sure there is no misunderstanding. I'm Connor with Honor. Thank you so much for watching today's Real Estate Update. We will be back tomorrow, and I do appreciate it. Be well.